North Wright County Today, the podcast, is brought to you by Stellus Health. Stellus Health, StellusHealth.com, all your healthcare needs in the greater Buffalo, Monticello area, including St. Michael, Albertville. Clinics to help you with everything from foot care to OBGYN to mental health to physical health. They've got it for you. StellusHealth.com, where you can hop over and check out their podcasts, which are probably a little bit more informative when it comes to healthcare than this one. We appreciate Stellus Health for sponsoring North Wright County Today, the website, and an OG sponsor of the podcast. Stellus Health, with locations in Buffalo and Monticello, both right next to hospitals for all your care. StellusHealth.com. Look at that.
Look at us.
I can add control board operator to my to my resume.
And I will add observer.
Well, no, you got the screen going.
Yeah, I did. Not in the right direction, but it got going.
We got it. We figured it out. Hey, what's up, gang? Welcome to yet another edition of North Wright County Today, the podcast, known to dozens. But, you know, as my uncle always said, a stranger is just a friend you haven't met yet. So
That is right.
It is the middle of June. We are dead set in the middle of June. We've passed it a little bit. We're kind of in the home stretch of June already. I feel like we just graduated our folks from local schools, and now, you know, kids are looking at the calendar and they're like, geez.
Yeah, you have 2 weekends till the 4th of July.
That's incredible.
That is nuts.
We are we're podcasting on a Wednesday morning. We're switching it up a little bit, so there's caffeine around. You can see Nick's got the energy drink going already. I've got at least a cup of coffee in me already. So we are guest free today. We had a cast of thousands last week, hundreds maybe. Okay, dozens, but. If you missed it, check it out on Facebook, YouTube. We did the live show from the block party. It was a little bit soggy, but I think a success nonetheless. I think,
it was fun.
We had a few people pop in, and they're like, "Whoa, this is a podcast now!" And it's like, yeah, that's what we've been saying for about 4 months. But
I enjoyed the unscripted moments with the kids that just wanted candy.
Right. Yeah. I might just put a table full of Jolly Ranchers in here every time we pod.
Why
and
not?
We'll just see who shows up. So, good. So go back and check that out if you haven't already. It was a busy weekend. It was a soggy weekend. I felt bad. I think I felt worse for the garage sale folks.
Yeah.
You know, we talked a little bit about the art of the garage sale. One thing we didn't talk about is if you're a host, what do you do if it rains? And there were a lot of tents, a lot of people pulling tables back into garages, people trying to make the most of it. But boy, that was a rough go if you're trying to move product on Thursday or Friday.
Yeah, Saturday was pretty wet. Friday was really wet. I did see one sign though that I appreciated the effort. I actually stopped by the garage sale because of it. It was a picture of Gollum from The Lord of the Rings.
Oh, I did see this.
Yes. My precious can be yours. I enjoyed the effort, so I stopped by that sale just for that.
That's fantastic. Yeah. The artwork on some of the signs has gotten creative. You don't see the hardware store garage sale signs on posts anymore. You get, to kind of differentiate yourself, you've got to go that extra step. So.
Yeah, there's an individual in St. Michael, usually around days and nights, that has a garage sale, and it has a picture of Lionel Richie, and it says, "Is it me you're looking for?"
Hello.
Yeah, and then on the backside, it was Mr. T. I pity the fool that doesn't come to this sale. You know.
So there's one in, shout out again to everybody who tried to have a sale and move their. Let's face it, move their junk. But there's a gentleman in Albertville who, for as long as I think I've lived here, or as long as I can remember anyway, that moves his fishing stuff.
Oh, that's
He
right.
must be
Yes.
some sort of dealer,
Yes.
outfitter,
I did
something
see a
like
sign
that.
for
And so,
outdoor gear and fishing gear.
yeah,
Yeah.
that is always well
Yeah.
attended, and he was able to move the rods and reels and stuff like that into the garage,
Yep.
and it was packed.
I bet. I
So
bet.
and then we called it, or at least I did, on Friday from the block party. You heard it here first. I said it is not going to rain during the parade, and it did not.
It did not.
Yeah,
Actually,
Sunday
got kind
was-
of hot and humid.
Sunday was a
fact.
little warm and muggy, and we did have a few things move through later in the day, but the parade was on point. And shout out to everybody who turned out for that. I think by Saturday night, people were ready to rock.
Yeah.
Slamabama had a hell of a crowd. If
Yeah.
you haven't checked out the Friendly City Days website since things wrapped up, there's some good video there of many of your closest friends and neighbors shouting "Proud to be an American" at the top of their lungs, which was cool. So corny, but cool. We get into corny around here. So great event, great job done by the Albertville Lions and everybody else who hops in to contribute once again. Like I said, leading up to it, we're lucky to have people dedicated to throwing this thing and making it the huge success that it is every year. And many of them do it for free. So, they might get a pork chop, or they might get a ride ticket or something like that, but or a nice cold one here or there.
Yep.
But most of these people are on board for just to help out and to be part of it. So that's pretty cool. Couple big events coming this week. I don't have the laptop in front of me because I'm just it's morning and I'm running behind, so we're gonna wing it, or we're just gonna see what happens. A couple big things coming this weekend that I thought we could talk about. First of all, Ride for Life, Chad Smith Ride for Life, which will be at the 152 Club all day Saturday. Kickstands usually up right around 10 o'clock in the morning. If you have never gone to that, it is a spectacle to see the number of bikes. And again, it's going to be hot.
Yeah,
it's going to be a nice weekend for it. Going to be a dry weekend for it, which they haven't had really on and off. The 2 of the past 3 years, I think, have been pretty soggy.
Yeah.
So going to be a hot, nice weekend. Maybe a few storms in the evening, but by then we'll all be back at the 152 Club, listening to the band and raising money. So check that out. Shout out to the family of Chad Smith, Wendy Jorgensen. I don't want to leave anybody out, but Toby and Jen Burning, really kind of the driving forces behind that. Chad's mom and dad get into it every year. The entire family there really pitches in. And then what happens, and what makes this a cool event for our community, is a lot of the families who have benefited from this charity and the giving, and they do give away thousands of dollars every year, end up helping out. And I think that's cool. I can think all the way back to the Letellier family who, Luke passed away a while ago now on Valentine's Day. And, we remember all the people who have been, kind of the lights to lead the way for this event, who aren't with us anymore. And that includes my ex-mother-in-law. Marla Gamak, and the Gamak family was a recipient many years ago, and we had a great time. And I knew of the ride before then, and they knew me. And that was one of those things where I sat down with Toby, and he's like, we heard about your mother-in-law. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, why don't we meet with you and Jen and talk about it? And so we sat down with Toby and Jen and a couple other members of the family. And again, I'm missing you guys name-wise, but you're in my head. But it was like, yeah, tell us about it. And, of course, Marla had been diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And they were like, well, that's it then. You know, she's it. You don't have a choice. So shout out to those guys. They do an outstanding job, and it's an outstanding event. Registration is up right now. You can still get in. Bikes are always welcome. You can sign up the morning of. They will be at the 152, I believe, as early as 8 o'clock in the morning. They do have Bloody Marys, and they're good. Screwdrivers, all those good old breakfast buffet drinks, breakfast bar drinks. You know, but of course, we encourage everybody to ride safe, ride sober. Come back with, you know, all your pieces intact, and then, you know, do what you will. Yeah, it's a cool event. It's a unique event. I don't know if you've ever been a part of it or swung by.
Never been a part of it, but I swung by a couple of times.
Yeah,
and yeah, it's a really cool deal.
Again, another event where the community shows up. You know, you've got businesses all over, from Marksman Metals to B&D to anybody else, 152 Club, J&B Meats, you know, donating things to the raffle, to silent auction. They've done four-wheelers, they've done lawnmowers, they've got Harley signs, you know, lots of stuff to give away or to purchase. Vikings tickets, Twins tickets, any event you really want to go to, they're going to be there at the auction. So stop by and check that out at the 152 Club. The auction is usually mid-afternoon, about 2 o'clock is when everybody comes rolling back after the tour, 2 to 4. You're going to have dinner, or, you know, late afternoon, early evening. That's typically catered by Roasted Chicken and Molly and Lupke and the team. And they'll either do chicken or pulled pork sandwiches or whatever they got. It's been pulled pork the last few years, so
either one will be delicious.
Yeah, right on, man. Even if you're just looking for dinner on Saturday, swing by, and I think you drop $10 and you know, $10-20 and you get dinner and beer. 152 Club. No, I don't think anybody would ever say their drinks are too expensive.
No.
So drop by, grab a drink, have a beer, and get some roasted chicken or some pulled pork. And there's always cake. Coburn's pitches in with some cake, and then they do the live auction, which is a blast. They'll have plenty of cool stuff for that. A lot of time you've got the stuff that's handmade by people around town, and you know, your bag boards and your, like I said, your Harley signs, Chad Smith signs. For those that don't know the history behind it, Chad Smith was a member of the St. Michael Albertville community and was diagnosed with cancer very young. He was into cycles. He drove a race car. He was a, you know, he was a gearhead in every sense of the word, and was part of the first couple rides, and then, of course, passed away. And the ride is done every year in his memory. And I would say, you know, I'm just venturing a guess now, but I would say over the years that the family of Chad has raised more than $500,000, probably closer to $1 million. Over those years for people in our community. So people of all ages too. We've had kids, you know, I'm thinking of a couple guys and girls that were still in grade school. We've had, you know, older adults. Marla at the time was a grandmother, and moms, dads, kids, teens. It's helped a lot of people in the community, and in another way that we kind of come together. So check that out this week at the 152 Club. I'm going to get this podcast posted in time so you have all this info. But, yeah, we'd love to see you there. And my kids will be helping out. So
nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, you just kind of get roped into it. And so Marla's year, you know, people get a year. Her year was 2018. She passed away in 2019. So she was able to attend briefly the 2019 event, and then of course 2020, none of us rode, none of us did anything,
Yeah.
and we kind of had to put it on the shelf for that year, but it came
Yeah.
roaring back in 21 and has been rolling since, and the family has been part of that ever since.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's awesome.
good stuff. And then the other one we want to shout out is actually starting tonight, I believe, tonight or tomorrow night, and that's the Buffalo Rodeo. So you want to get over to the Buffalo Rodeo grounds. The NRWC Rodeo will be at Buffalo, which is just a straight the fairgrounds, the rodeo grounds. Pardon me, not fairgrounds. Fairgrounds are way down in Howard Lake. That's another thing for another day. Rodeo grounds in Buffalo. Just catch BB Lake Road, head straight to Buffalo. There's no construction on BB Lake Road right now. The roundabout's done. So sling out there and check that out. It is probably one of the most well-attended rodeos in our area, right there with Hamel.
Yeah.
And great event.
Yeah, and you have a connection with somebody that qualified in barrels, was it?
We both do. So Matt Fitch,
that's right.
His daughter Morgan.
Fitch's daughter.
Qualified in barrels. I believe she is going to run Thursday or Friday night.
Oh, nice.
And then the other one is Sienna Sansevier, who is from Buffalo. Bob Sansevere's daughter, Bob and Mary Sansevier. My daughter rode at their farm for several years. Did camps, was a camp instructor, camp leader, helped out kids, with those little slower ride, a little moseying through the trails there, learning how to ride and treat and do everything with your horse. That's kind of what they do. But the girls all also compete in games, and Sienna's got a great horse and is a great rider, and she's going to be competing as well. So yeah, got some local connections there for sure. We've also had some local bull riders, so I'm not sure, local bull riders and bronc riders, and of course all the horses are from here in the Twin Cities area too. So it's a cool event. Tell you what, Thursday and Friday look like great nights to be out there. If we can dodge some of these storms, I think a lot of those are coming overnight. Yep. So they'll get the rodeo grounds tilled up, and the dirt will be soft, and the beer will be cold.
Yeah, there you go.
So,
will you be moonlighting as a rodeo clown?
I will not. I have done some work out at the rodeo a couple of years. In fact, one year, the first year that Maddie was involved, she's kind of been a default junior Miss Rodeo and helped with raking around the barrels.
Okay, yeah.
The first year, I ended up on one of the gates, so I basically would have to open the gate as the riders came out. And we had a gentleman fall, which happens, and fell pretty hard on his neck and back. And so we had the ambulance come in and stretchered him out. And I was holding the door, and you could see me on TV. But I didn't have a hat. I was wearing a ball cap. So I had to borrow somebody's cowboy hat because they're like, "You're in the shot. You need a cowboy hat." Yeah. I wore a black felt hat on a 90-degree night. I had sweat pouring down my eyes. So yeah, that's my moonlighting as a rodeo hand. There you go. I guess, but that's about as far as I've gotten. Yeah, I like to, what we say when we're at the show is we're cowgirl dads. We're barn there you dads. Go. Yeah. We help out as much as we can, but we really don't know what we're doing. Yeah. So yeah. All right. Well, I've dominated. What's been up at the bank?
Yeah, we talked on Friday. Obviously, we podcasted from Soggy City Days.
We did have a poll, and that was our winner.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. And so since then, on Saturday, I just got a few things done around the house. Sunday, obviously, was Father's Day. Yeah. But did do a little bit of volunteering. We're going to be delivering a bed for kids through the STMA Rotary. Nice. And then tonight we have the Chamber Circle of Excellence Awards. And in a nutshell, it's kind of like the Oscars for the I-94 West Chamber. some folks that have demonstrated great leadership or young up and coming business leaders, they get honored and nominated and honored.
Nice.
Yeah.
Who's working the red carpet? Who's doing the interviews? And
That's a good question. Maybe I should be doing that.
yeah, absolutely. I think that would be great.
Channel my
And
inner Seacrest.
just get one of those, little mics for your phone and just be like, "Who are you wearing?"
Yes.
And they'll be like, I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like,
Adidas. I'm wearing Adidas.
I feel I'd probably like to ask a lot of random questions that make people think. Favorite childhood candy? Go.
Jolly Ranchers.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, fantastic. That's I-94 Chamber is awesome, and we were a past member. I'm not currently.
Yeah, you should get back in.
I should get back in. Yeah. I wish I had the time.
Yeah.
I will though. The district. I also work for ISD 720.
Yes.
For those who haven't joined us before, the district is a member and works well with both the Elk River Chamber and the 94 West Chamber.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
good stuff. Well, that'll be fun. That it's a great way to recognize, our area and some of the innovation and work and volunteer work that these businesses do. So that's cool.
Yeah.
You guys have been a recipient before, and
So I personally was nominated for an award in leadership twice. Didn't win. Sandy Greniger beat me out for that one.
well, she's retiring now.
I know.
You might have a shot.
I know. That's right. Save some for the rest of us. But and then the bank over the years has won best bank, a couple of different awards. So we're very excited to go and see a lot of people maybe we haven't seen since winter time. So
Nice. Yeah. Excellent. So support for that. Shout out to that event. Support for them. Hey, North Wright County Today, the podcast is brought to you by a couple of sponsors. We want to give them a shout out right now. We're going to kick it off with the Solutions Counseling Gang. Shout out to Craig Renz. Say 1 in 3 members of the STMA community. It is verified by Caleb and Craig and the crew over there, has done the right thing for their mental health and gotten help at Solutions Counseling. GetCounseling.org. They are located over there in St. Michael on Highway 241 off Thielen Drive. They can help you with anything, man. Couples counseling, kids, screening for ADHD or any of those developmental mental health things. Guys, gals, hypnotherapy for those of you looking to quit smoking or lose weight. Check them out on getcounseling.org. They also do the virtual appointment thing if that's your jam. You don't want to go into the office. You don't want anybody to see you. You want to kind of keep it discreet, keep it on the down low, or just want to do it from the comfort of your own home. They can do that too. Getcounseling.org. Solutions Counseling, an OG sponsor of North Wright County Today. North Wright County Today, the podcast is shot live here in the Selfie Company studios, so we want to give Sam a shout out. She's not here today. She's being the dance mom of the year. She's headed to nationals once again, and shout out to her. But shout out to Selfie Company. They're through the busy prom season. They've wrapped that up. They're done with graduations, grad parties, things like that. So now is the perfect time for you with seniors, babies, toddlers, want to do a shoot here at Selfie Company and dodge all those raindrops or miss all those storms and just get your shoot done and get it over with.
Yep.
Book it here, man. They do a great job. Check them out online at the Selfie Company on Facebook. You can see some of the studios, see some of the local artwork that's here in the studio. You can use those as awesome backdrops. They've got their 360 photo booth for your event. If you got a big event coming this summer and you want to set that up, they can do that too. Selfie Company, home of the North Wright County Today podcast, located right here in historic downtown Albertville. Deerwood Bank.
Yes.
What else has been shaking at Deerwood?
Yeah, so this last week we've been working a lot with a bunch of our deposit customers on, there's a set of products called Treasury Management. And on Monday, I actually got to do kind of a fun customer visit. We have a customer that is a brewery.
Nice.
Yeah. Sadly, I was working instead of relaxing there. But one of the things that a lot of businesses need is the ability to move money without having to manually do it. And so we have a whole host of products with ACH, which stands for Automated Clearinghouse. Very technical, but effectively getting money to vendors without having to send it through the mail. It happens quicker, it's secure. And then also the merchant card services. So if you are a business that takes credit cards for a payment source, we can compare what you're currently using to what our offering would be, provide equipment with the hope of saving you some money, and then you're also working with a local bank versus a nameless, faceless, large corporation somewhere. So when you do swipe your card, there's these fractions of a penny that get shot all over the ether, and those fractions of pennies add up over the course of a year or two. In one case, we looked at $36,000 worth of savings. So those have been some really fun meetings to just do more for your customer with the relationship that they already have.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, check them out. They're also on Highway 241 right off of, I'm going to forget the road.
Melby.
Thank you. Melby.
Yeah.
Yep. Right off Melby.
Just look for the new B&D building.
The big bank building on the east side of town on 241. It's been there. It's been a couple different banks, but right now it's Deerwood, and we feel like Deerwood's here to stay, man.
Yeah, they're a buyer, not a seller.
Right on. So Deerwood Bank in the bank building, 241 in Melby. Ask for Nick. He'll help you out.
Absolutely.
And if he's not there, somebody there will, because
then come to the golf course.
They're all awesome.
I'll be there.
Just check Fox Hollow. Lastly, well, not lastly, but for this ad block, hey, if you're looking to advertise your business, North Wright County Today, the podcast, is here for you. We do 30-second spots for a reasonable price. Give me a shout and let me know what your needs are. We can do logos. We can do website advertising as well. NorthWrightCountyToday.com, or check us out on Facebook and just send me a message. We've had clients from Deerwood Bank, who's been there since day one, STMA Theater, St. Michael's Cinema. Everybody around, you ask them, they've probably tried us at least once, and it's been good for business. You can just ask Sam Pfeiffer herself. She's a proud sponsor and, of course, host of the podcast, and can tell you that the podcast has done great things for Selfie Company. So if you're looking to advertise, join us on the North Wright County Today podcast. Just email me at Shoemz, SCHOEMZ 23 at gmail.com. I'm probably going to get a bunch of spam now, but that's okay. But hey, we'd love to have you on the podcast and tell your story too. So, yeah, so this is a hard one to talk about, and I kind of saved it for the end of the show. For those of you that don't know, I was a newspaper reporter for 20 years before getting into the school of comms biz, and I was the coordinator of our election coverage for Patch.com in Minnesota in 2012, which was the election where Melissa Hortman made her way to the Minnesota House of Representatives. Melissa and her husband, Mark, were tragically murdered over the weekend in their home. The perpetrator has been caught, apprehended, facing federal and state charges for shooting not only the Hortmans, but our neighbor and state senator in Rogers and Dayton and Champlin, John, and his wife, Yvette, Senator John Hoffman. And again, attacked in their home, both shot multiple times, both expected to pull through, thank God. And it turns out this suspect Also, well, the man who is alleged in these crimes and has been charged also visited two other legislators' homes.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, an event that uh, should make all of us reflect on uh, what got us here.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit, maybe be on my soapbox a little bit. Um, these are people who I've come to know over the last 20 years. Right side of the aisle, left side of the aisle. I'll tell you a little story. You know, I know John a little bit just from going
Mm-hmm.
with the school district. John represents our area in ISG 728, some small neighborhoods that are on the Hennepin County side of the river. And of course the entire Rogers area. So
Yeah.
that's a much larger area, growing area of our district. So I'm sorry, Hennepin County area of Dayton, and then all of Rogers. Just a salt of the earth guy, and most of these people, who get into this are salt of the earth people. They're people who want to help their community, maybe have a vibe for politics, maybe
Mm-hmm.
want to go and try that out as a step or a stage in their lives. We don't see a lot of career politicians in Minnesota. Representative Hortman had been in for 13, 14 years.
Mm-hmm.
Senator Hoffman had been in for um, a little longer than that. Senator Ann Rest who was one of the other people targeted, has been in office for more than 40 years. But I think that's probably an exception to the norm
Mm-hmm.
here. These are, like I said, good people. And I've spent time with, both parties. I've gotten to know, former Senator Amy Koch, who was Senate Majority Leader from Buffalo, Eric Lucero, who is our senator here in St. Michael, Albertville. Just having conversations with these people, no matter what side of the aisle, they really want to go and they want to make change and they want to advocate for people and they want to do what they think is, right for Minnesota. And I think what's unique about Minnesota is we are purple in really almost
Mm-hmm.
every sense. We try to find a way to balance. There's obviously push and pull, and there's a lot more push and pull than there used to be. But this is a state that has always had, a DFL Republican cooperation
Mm-hmm.
in order to get things done. It's very rare. Obviously, 2022, 2023 was probably the exception, and rankled a few people with the way it went down. But and that's for Democrats too. There's Democrats who aren't necessarily in favor of how that session played out. But long story short, the dehumanization of politicians and I think just the overall chaos that has been created for the climate around politics has led us here, and we need to examine that as a state, first and foremost, as a community. We can discuss things instead of using, slams and insults and calling each other stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And try to maybe see things from each other's point of view. I thought and hop in here anytime, but I thought the message sent out by the Hortman children, if you haven't seen that online,
I have not.
was fantastic. Basically saying, get involved,
Mm-hmm.
get outside, be like, Mark Hortman, Melissa's husband, he was an adventurer. He loved to be outdoors. He headed up north and did biking and hiking and, they talk about go touch grass, and Mark was a guy who liked to go touch grass, man.
Mm-hmm.
And his kids kind of picked that up. And then, of course, the dogs that they trained, and of course, one of them was sadly killed in that attack, or died as the result of injuries. Uh, you know, go pet a dog, go adopt a dog, foster a dog. That's a good way to remember these folks. Yeah. So
Yeah, I
it's
think
just sad.
the part that was kind of devastating to me, I had met both of these individuals a couple of times through chamber events or I-94 corridor coalition events. Some of the corridors for commerce for the freeway projects, and in a day and age where I think on the national level you see some politicians that kind of like to say some wild things to whip up their base. Neither one of these people was like that.
Right.
Yeah. Hortman specifically was just a very pragmatic public servant. And so for somebody like that to be the victim of this kind of attack just kind of makes me shake my head.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been said dozens of times. Some people need to hear it again, but there's no place for this in our discourse and our experiment as a democracy. Political violence has not been, one of those things where we stand by and idly accept it. We made our way through the 1960s where it was maybe the norm there for a while, but this has not been our identity in the past 35, 40 years. So, I would encourage everybody out there to maybe examine some of the things that they're doing and saying, and look at, some of the things, and this, me included, myself included, some of the things were thrown out there on social media. I think, that would be appropriate for this situation. I think it's a reality check. And I think, we had a reality check last July. It was about, or pardon me, it was last July, where, the now President of the United States was struck by a bullet and, nearly changed the course of history. And, we kind of said it then, like, hey, maybe this is getting pushed too far. When a couple sleeping in their homes in the dead of night on a Friday night, Saturday morning, are taken from us too soon, late 50s, you just got to look at it and say, man, what could I do better to make this process work a little better? Because I think anybody out there right now would tell you that things are a little broken.
Yeah, and I think our good friends Craig and Caleb would tell you, if you have that kind of anger, you need to talk to somebody about it.
Yeah, I laugh, but it's not funny.
Yeah.
It's very true. Yeah. If you're lashing out and posting something, that's one thing. But if it's angering you to the point where you feel you need to take up arms against your opponents, that's an entirely different issue, and that's more on you than on your opponents. Everybody in this country has a right to think and feel and voice their opinions. And we've come to this place where, if you voice an opinion that's different, or you dress a little different, or you talk a little different, or you listen to different music, or drive something different, you're subject to ridicule. And that's too far, man. That's, we're built on the fabric that, this is discourse. This is the way we get there is through talking things out and hashing things out and coming to compromise. And I thought one of the things that Governor Tim Walz said was, you need not look very far back. The special session just a couple weeks ago, there was a lot of compromise in a Republican or in a pardon me, House of Representatives that was chaired by a Republican and a Democrat. Because of the situation, because we are literally tied in our state legislature in the House. It required teamwork to get the ball to the goal line, and that doesn't happen everywhere.
No.
And the work that Representative Hortman did with her co-speaker upset some Democrats, but in the process, I've heard many representatives, one being Mary Franzen from Alexandria, who's said a few controversial things in her tenure, that there were some friendships made and there were some new relationships created and people you could talk to that you didn't think you could talk to before.
Right.
And it's like, wow, actually, that's how the whole thing should work.
Yeah.
So, the other, before we wrap up, and I know this is a heavy one to wrap up on, but shout out and thumbs up to the police departments and federal investigators and state workers, state patrol, county departments, local departments, Brooklyn Park Police Department, for example. The work that they did, they're, again, are extreme people who have thoughts of whether they think it's some sort of conspiracy or somebody didn't do this or somebody dropped the ball here. Overall, to catch a guy who literally at that point, 90 minutes after all this goes down, has fought his way out of the scene and is now mobile and is a needle in a literal haystack.
Yep.
The teamwork to do that and the leadership shown to get that done in 43 hours. And we know that, from TV, 48 hours is the key. To get that done in 43 hours was pretty remarkable.
Yeah, and I think also there were a couple members of the public that did the right thing as well. When they saw something, they said something. My understanding is somebody got a message on their phone from their trail cam that they used to look at deer for their hunting ground, and got an image of him and turned it over to law enforcement. Yeah,
definitely. Teamwork up and down there to get it done, and again, great leadership and good work. By people to find the suspect. I'm not going to name him because I don't think he deserves the publicity, and he's going to get plenty over the next few months. To find the suspect, to pin him down, and to actually bring him into custody, and now we'll have a federal trial first, and he will also face state charges. That's how the process works. I've had a couple people ask me about that. If you're curious about that, federal charges come first. There are federal charges in this instance because of the use of the internet to basically stalk these people, to find their homes, to figure out where they lived, to purchase some things. So by federal law, he can be charged federally for what he did. It is not considered an act of terrorism. That's obviously debatable, but the federal prosecutors in charge have decided it is not a terroristic event. You can argue that one, but when you're facing life sentences or possibly the death penalty, I mean, okay.
I think the prosecutor's job is to figure out which conviction they can get real easy.
Right.
And they probably don't need to clear that terrorism bar to make sure this person doesn't surface again.
Yeah, I also got that question, when charges were filed by the state. Why murder two, second-degree murder? In the state of Minnesota, a federal or a state grand jury is assembled to decide whether first-degree murder charges are necessary or even feasible. That will happen. It will be assembled. They will be levied at some point. I can almost guarantee it. Obviously, you don't know what a grand jury is going to do, but in this case, the evidence is pretty insurmountable. So he will face first-degree murder charges in the state of Minnesota as well. Both trials will happen. It doesn't matter if he's convicted in federal court. He also will be tried in state court. There's multiple reasons for that. The most recent, of course, that we saw happen was the Derek Chauvin case. Chauvin was tried both federally and state.
Yeah.
One of the many reasons to do that is to levy justice at both levels. You know, and if for one reason or another, you know, one case wasn't ironclad and an appeal happens in one case, you have the other case, and if you know the appeal doesn't work there, then you're fine. It's the way the system works. It's the way you can get justice in a case like this. But obviously, it seems a little bit hollow with what we've lost. So.
Well, just to pick us up, how was your Father's Day?
You know, I got busy kids, man.
Yeah.
So I was able to rope them in for dinner, and we threw a few burgers and dogs on the grill. It was also Cam's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday!
So that goes all the way back to. It's funny because you know, when Cam was born, many moons ago, 19 years ago now. 2006, he was in the hospital on Father's Day. So I tease him. I'm like, yeah, your birthday always upstages Father's Day.
Yeah.
But that's cool. You know, he's 19 and a recent graduate, and, you know, the world on a string, so they say.
That's awesome.
So you know, Sunday was a nice day, and they felt they had kind of been robbed of their first Friendly City Days as young adults, as independents, and so he spent a lot of the day up at the fairground or at the Midway and hanging out at the skate park and doing stuff like that. Yeah. So running around. So
nice.
But it was good. It allowed me to watch the U.S. Open, which I enjoyed.
There you go.
Yeah. So sat back and watched a rainy U.S. Open come to a very exciting conclusion.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Nice.
Yep. How about you?
Yeah, it was good. My family was nice enough to let me go to a burger place in Northeast Minneapolis called Stray Dog. And,
nice. Yes.
If you like a burger that you just gotta two-hand it and go for it, you know, that's your place.
And if you like dogs.
Yes, and if you like dogs, a lot of dog artwork on the walls. And then a little Instagram find about 300 feet away. There was a store down in the basement of a building that sold vintage soccer jerseys from the 70s, 80s, 90s.
Ooh.
Yeah, and so we poked around down there I bet you we were in there for a half hour just looking at all of them. And,
nice.
you know, they're very proud of them. They price them appropriately. So I didn't come home with one, but I did find a 1997 Japanese national team jersey, King Kazu. Yeah, and it was the...
so you are way more well-versed in soccer history than I am.
Yeah, so I lived in Japan at the time when this jersey was the national team jersey.
Yeah,
had flames on the shoulders.
Yep.
It was really cool. They wanted $800 for it, and I respectfully declined.
You're like, new bike or soccer jersey?
Yeah. Mortgage payment. Yeah, like, what do you want to do? But no, nonetheless, it was really cool to kind of dig through their stuff. They had some stuff from when Russia was, you know, the CCCP.
Yes.
Game-worn jersey from the Soviet Union national team.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any Minnesota kicks or anything like
Didn't
that?
see. No, it was mostly club. I would say Europe and Asia, and then some Africa, and then national teams, Europe, Africa, Asia, and they did have the denim, the old school denim USA kit.
Lexi Lawless.
Yes.
Jersey,
Yeah, they had that one on the wall.
Nice. Excellent.
So yeah,
That's a really good find.
yeah, it was a ton of fun to just kind of poke through there, and then I came home and mowed my lawn for the first time in about a week and a half because it was dry.
If anybody out there has a herd of goats or sheep and wants them to bring them to 61st Street in Albertville, I would gladly let you feed on my lawn because my fiance's little dog goes out and you can see her little ears, but that's about it.
That's about it.
I was mowing that must have been Monday night, and I was making really good progress and got to the backyard and was cruising on through and stopped to get a glass of water, and the rain started coming again.
Yeah.
I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So hoping to knock that out. I've got a couple of open days coming up here. Juneteenth will be tomorrow.
Yes.
So
it is tomorrow.
you guys are closed, correct?
No, we're not.
No,
actually.
you guys are open. Government buildings.
So the way it works in banking is you kind of have the choice of being open on some of those holidays. The Fed is closed, and so all of our business then goes on to the 20th. But we're there as a customer service.
Is the exchange open tomorrow?
As far as the stock market, no, I don't think it is. I don't think it is.
So
I know my daughter is working, and she's very excited to get time and a half at her part-time job.
there you go. There you go. So yeah, federal offices will be closed. Hey, just a reminder, City of Albertville. Well, I think that's an all-round thing now, but especially in the summer, not a lot of services on Friday, so get your stuff done during the week.
Yeah.
Just wanted to give that shout out for those guys. And then give you a sense of what's coming up. Yeah, another busy weekend, with those two big events, but then we kind of settled down, but we're gonna feature the Delano 4th of July.
Oh,
We're
nice.
gonna try to get some words from those folks.
The fireworks extravaganza.
It's a great fireworks show if you haven't been down there. And again, I talked about it a little bit on the live show last week. For those that didn't catch it, the ballpark down there is just fantastic.
Yeah.
And of course, the Midway being right next to that, and some good food and stuff down there. So 4th of July, if you stick around town, I highly recommend Delano.
Yep.
Delano4thofjuly.com. But might be the call that changes my life. Anyway, I think that makes it time to wrap up. So thanks everybody for joining us for another week. Have a great weekend. First, calendar weekend of summer. We're nearing the middle.
Yes.
Which means the days are going to get shorter.
Yes. Yeah. The 20th, right?
Right.
That is the.
That'll be Friday.
That will be the summer solstice.
Yes. Yep. Summer solstice coming up, and State Fair right around the corner.
Yes, sir.
All right, everybody. Thanks very much for joining us, and we'll see you soon.